About a Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, the team is feeling very good. This was our first feature film together. We produced plenty of short films and music videos over the past 7 years. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night was our first feature, and it was a challenge. It was first time feature producer, first time feature writer-director team, family, which is always good and has its challenges when working with family, but it's been a blessing. This film has been received very well pretty much across the globe, and we feel great about it. It's taken us to our next film, which is called The Bad Batch, which is currently in post-production, and so, you know, for what we wanted to accomplish, make a great film and have people react positively to it, I think we definitely nailed it. And also have the recognition to be able to go out and get financing and attract enough attention to make our next film. That being said, being in post-production is always a challenging time, and we're wrapping up that film. So I know Anna Lily is extremely happy about A Girl Walks Home One Night, and I know she's thrilled to be finishing the edit on The Bad Batch, which should be coming soon. The Bad Batch is in color, it's in English, it's got big actors, and it was a much bigger production. That being said, you always take away from what you learned in your previous productions, even from, it's all an organic process. So I think taking some of the lessons that you learn and putting them into a bigger project is exactly what she did. She's very, very focused and likes to manage the production and many of the departments very closely. So this was just a bigger, badder, more awesome version of, more awesome, we'll let you see for yourselves, but a bigger version of A Girl Walks Home One Night. That being said, the things that we learned from that experience, things we learned from making A Girl Walks Home One Night, I think really are, if you have a dream and you want to go out and make a feature, go out and do it. Figure out a way to go out and make your first film and cut a lot of the noise that you see in Hollywood out, and just take the resources you have and tell a story that you believe in, and hopefully have audiences react positively. It's a blessing. We hit the jackpot as far as indie filmmaking. We went out and made a feature film so we could basically make more films. If you would have told me 2 years ago that this film would have theatrical releases around the world, I would have said you were crazy. But Anna Lily did such a wonderful job directing, editing, writing this film, and we had a great team behind us that worked their asses off, bled for us, the cast and crew of this film, and also all the musicians that gave us their music for very little was a very big part of this film. This team that we had was very special, very unique. It probably won't happen again like this, but because of that, we were able to deliver something that Sundance noticed, and then from there we went to New Directors, New Films, and we had a really good sales team in Cineteca and distribution with Vice and Kino Lorber, and because of those partners, we were really able to get this film, and our former sales agent Kinology, and we were able to get this film out to so many people in so many different countries when it's just a black and white film in Farsi. Anna Lily was in a band called Flet a little while back, and music has always been a huge part of her life. She loves all different types of music. When she writes her scripts, especially Girl Walks Home One Night, and even in subsequent projects, these songs are written into the script, which is a challenge as a producer to know that you're going to have to get that song for the film, but it's also, it's a character in and of itself, and most people will, the soundtrack of this movie is, people really remember it, and it grasps a lot of people, and it keeps the movie going, and it's exciting, and it's something special that we put together, and I think that's why that they ended up even pressing vinyl for the soundtrack, which is, doesn't really happen for indie movies except for Drive and things like that have also spectacular soundtracks. But it was just fantastic to put that together.
But
I would say almost everyone, maybe one was switched out,
Okay.
but those songs were part of the script, part of the film as, you know, as we made it. And that
Okay.
was, you know, I think it's just a beautiful selection of songs from spaghetti western stuff of Federali, and then, you know, the Iranian modern music of Kiosk and Radio Tehran and Beirut, and then you have, you know, classic songs from Dariush, and then there's the White Lies song, which is in English and a very popular song. So, and they all have their own special moments in the movie. Lily's a badass artist, and she makes bold choices and does what she wants, and I think Tarantino does the same thing. But music is just very important to her. So, you know, whether Quentin does it or not, she would be doing it. And of course, you know, she's flattered by that comparison, and who wouldn't be? But, you know, she likes to choose music to fill those voids rather than even generally score. She'll sometimes even choose songs that sound like a score, but they're actually, you know, songs. We describe this film as an Iranian vampire western. So, you know, that spaghetti western was always part of it, and the visual delivery and the music was something, you know, the music of all of those scenes is by Federali. It's a gentleman by the name of Colin Hegna. It's a side project, and, you know, it's fantastic. It just fit the film so well. Making this film was something we decided to do so that we could go out and make our first feature. We had made shorts, we'd made music videos, we had developed features that she had written, several other ones, and tried to get them to the point of, give us the money to go out and make this movie. You're a first-time writer-director, I'm a first-time producer. And you run into, that's the hardest hurdle you run into Hollywood, is getting people to support you. So Lily said, let's go out and make this film this year, we're making a feature. And I said, okay, let's do it. And she said, I'm writing a feature of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. And I said, okay, like a month or so later it was done. We did a fundraiser, and we didn't have to go out and play the game of support us, give us a lot of money. We had elements that we had. We knew the cast, almost all of them. Most of them are LA, Arash is from Hamburg. So we had the cast. Lily's grew up in Bakersfield. We had the locations, more or less, and we were able to, you know, get a lot of favors thrown our way. It was really a matter of going out and making a film that we had the resources and the elements to go and do. The 57 T-Bird was her father's T-Bird. One of the locations is her parents' house. You know, their doctor's offices, one of the offices, other things we were able to get because we had connections with those places, or did a lot of just grassroots work in those towns to get them to open their doors to us. The cat is my cat, which is a big star of the film. So yeah, the challenges, they're generally huge challenges to making a feature, period. Most of them are how do you get the money. So that's the one that we were able to get around, which really reduced the need and take it by the balls and go out and, you know, make something that we knew we could make. So other than that, you know, the big challenges when you actually know you have something good, and then you have to go get all those song rights and, you know, deal with each band individually and get basically give them very little for their artist participation in your project. And, you know, it's an artist-to-artist collaboration, and most of the musicians were really gracious. So the challenges were there, but we minimized them by doing something that we could contain. You know, Lily's an artist, so she uses different things when she's telling a story. You know, from what's in the script, you'll see visual elements that have meaning. It's what you want to take away from it. It's what they may or may not obviously represent. But yeah, she's just brilliant with how she cuts together those the story elements, of course, the dialogue and what's going on with the characters, and then these other subtle moments that kind of give you a feel for this world that you're in. You know, the locations in this film are a character in and of themselves. This place that we created that's, you know, where are we? It's this dark, weird place that's full of bad people and vampires and drug dealers and prostitutes and pimps, and, you know, it's it's part of the film. And I think the oil rigs, you know, they have a big oil, you know, has that corruption feel and things like that. But and that's also part of the landscape of where we shot, you know, and it's also part of the landscape of the Middle East, even though we're, you know, that's not necessarily in the Middle East, but they speak Farsi wherever they're from. But yeah, it's part of the film. You know, when we made this film, it's just the film. It's this piece of art. It's fun. It's scary. It's a love story. It's weird. It's got music in it. You know, it is what it is. You can't really say what it is. It's just it is. It's unique. That being said, you know, Anna Lily likes to say that a film allows you to kind of look at yourself and get something out of it and what you see in it. And maybe that's what Roger saw. People see their own things, you know, when they kind of look into a film. It's what they get out of it. So for her to, you know, for us to say it is or it isn't something, is really, you know, what you get out of it. It's what you see it is doing. You know, it's not clearly it's not a documentary or political statement. I mean, it's very far from that. And I don't think we ever set out to make that. That being said, you know, we did something that we could do, you know, in America. You can go out and make a film in another language and do whatever you want. Could we make that film in Iran? Probably not. Actually, you know, we'll say probably not. But you can do stuff like that, and that's why it's great to be in a free country and just go out and make art, make some content, have fun.
Sure.
Vampire girls. Well, from what I've seen so far, and in these last couple days, and from what I've heard about Mexico City especially, is, you know, the youth here is fairly sophisticated and educated and intellectual, and I think just as they will watch foreign cinema or local cinema that moves them, you know, they'll grasp onto this film. The problem is getting people to go see it. This cinema here, Cineteca Nacional, has an audience that I think is really cinephile and friendlier to a film like this, rather than, you know, the people that go to local cineplexes, and, you know, it's against a big box like Spectre or, you know, a Bond movie or things like that, because then it's a different feel. But it's just the same in America. You know, if you're into independent film, I think here actually it's easier to get it, because, I mean, there's a lot of different films that come out here and people react to it. It's just a matter of getting, you know, awareness. And the nice thing about this film is a lot of its success has come from other people seeing it, word of mouth. It hasn't been, you know, a film like this doesn't have a huge marketing budget because it just doesn't work. So its success comes from people seeing it, telling their friends, and then going to see it. And, you know, I hope people here enjoy it and love it, and the release kind of builds its own momentum. Hi, I'm Sina Sayyah, the producer of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Welcome to my film, directed by Anna Lily Amirpour. I'm very pleased to have this film in Mexico City, and especially at the Cineteca Nacional.